first trip to Western Kentucky. Ready to support Coach Taggart going back home?
We are. It's my first time playing there, not my first time going there. When I picked up Mike from Penn State, we were driving back and we spent the night in Bowling Green, Kentucky one night. So I've been there, but never played there. But we are looking forward to going back, and Coach Taggart has deep ties and roots there. We're excited to go back and play against a good football team.
And how important is it, obviously, because this past 2 weeks, the offensive struggles that we've seen, especially against Old Dominion last week. How would you sort of assess the offense last week, and what are the preparations you're looking for going in Western Kentucky?
Well, we've just been inconsistent in finishing drives. We've moved the ball, and then we've gotten stagnant, and drives have stalled. So that's what we got to do. We got to just continue to finish and be more consistent in putting those drives together and finishing and scoring points like we were doing earlier.
Is there one thing you might point to that's causing the inconsistency? Is there one area?
It's just one mistake here or there. We're making, have 10 guys doing one thing and then one guy maybe not doing the right thing. Sometimes we drop a ball. Sometimes we miss a throw. Sometimes we miss a block. So it hasn't been just consistent overall as a group. But we've got to find that consistency this week, because this is a team that scores points, and we're going to have to step it up and make sure that we do our part and score points also.
Well, what's going to be maybe different in this week of practice compared to maybe these other weeks where, we're talking about the inconsistencies of the offense? Is it going to be maybe just more on the coaching this time around, or what do you think?
Well, it all starts with the coaches. It all starts with coaching, and we've got to do a better job coaching on offense. We got to do a better job of making sure we put together the game plan that fits our players and give them an opportunity to execute. I want to make sure that, from my standpoint this week, that, everybody has a heightened sense of urgency from the coaching standpoint and the player standpoint. So I'm going to make sure that we do that and pick that juice up a little bit more. So it's going to be a different this week for all of us around.
Johnny continues to have explosive plays. Is he the kind of player you thought you were getting when you guys brought him in? Has he shown that he is what you thought he is, to paraphrase? Yes,
he's everything that we thought he would be. And I thought personally that he had his best game with our FAU Iowa football team last week. He was really doing well. He did a lot of good things, and we just have to help him. We got to get more people around him that are doing things like that to really take off, because we're not far off, but we just got to be more consistent.
I feel like everybody talks about this Western Kentucky offense, but what have you seen maybe from the defense that might pose a problem to this offense, going into Saturday?
Well, their offense is scoring a lot of points because their defense is taking the ball away. They've got 22 turnovers on defense, and I think 14 in the last 2 weeks. So we got to make sure that we take care of the ball and don't give it to them. They're already a good offense, and then when you give them short fields or you give them points off of interceptions and things like that, then it makes it even tougher. So we got to make sure that we are doing our part and not giving them the ball and not giving them short fields.
I guess another question. We have the news that Hines Ward is now the new wide receivers coach. What do you think that he sort of brings to the group that, we've seen a little bit of inconsistency from them? What do you think, with the massive experience that he brings, what do you think he brings to the wide receiver group?
Well, Hines is an experienced vet at wide receivers. He played a long time in the NFL. He knows the position well. So his insight and his input in that room is going to be good. So he's going to be good for us. He's a guy that has a ton of experience that we're going to tap into and try to get that into those guys that are going to be playing for us.
It also seems like, the past couple of weeks we've seen Cozy maybe get a little rattled back there. It could have been maybe because of the amount of pressures that he's seen. But, what are you telling Cozy, and especially just the team, the offense as a whole, tonight, just kind of stay calm and just kind of do what we've been doing this whole year?
Well, we're going to be okay. I think Nicozy's going to be fine. I don't know if I call it rattled, but we've got to do some things to help him also. So we're going to do a couple things to help everybody out. So we're just excited to get to practice this week, excited to get our game plan going, and, we're really looking forward to this football game.
And just one final thing, I feel like you saw a little bit more of the tight ends kind of get into the game plan this week. Is that something you want to see more of, for Western Kentucky, for Middle Tennessee to kind of finish off the season?
I want to see everybody get involved. I want not just the tight ends. I want to see our other receivers. I want to see quarterback play better. I want to see us block better. I want to see everybody play better. So it's not just the tight ends, but we're going to get them involved also. But, you know, we're looking for a consistent effort as a group, and that's what we're trying to do this week, and that's what we're looking for.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Challenge of playing Western Kentucky. They're a totally different team offensively from last year, which you're not a part of. But you know, defensively, they were pretty stout last year. Or have they changed much?
Not too much. They still run the same thing, the same scheme, and so just gotta take advantage and take what they give us.
You know, is that something that maybe you're sort of expressing to the team and the other veterans on the offense, saying, you know, this is a team that is we know a lot about. We can go in there and we can do our jobs.
Oh, most definitely. We have to just stay strong. We have to just take advantage of everything, you know. And so we got to go in there with a killer mindset. You know, we know what they're going to do, basically. So just taking everything that we can get is what's going to help us win the game.
The inconsistencies that the offense has experienced the last 2 weeks. As a player, how do you look at that? Is it we're hurting ourselves? It's not necessarily the other team is better than us. How do you look at that whole thing?
I look at it it's tough because sometimes you get to that place where it's like you don't know where it starts, like where is it coming from, but then you do look back and reflect like we are hurting ourselves as far as with the penalties, drop passes, not hitting the right hole, blocking, and so it all comes together and it all builds up to make that one problem. So it's just going back and just working on the little details that matter.
Does it almost seem like it's something different on every possession when you do stall out?
Sort of, not really. No, it's like it's a repetitive thing, you know. It's always the same thing, and so we just got to harp on that one thing and then get it right.
You know, you really had an impressive 59-yard touchdown catch against Old Dominion, but is that kind of like maybe sort of in the back of your mind because, again, you guys didn't end up with the win?
Yeah, you can score touchdowns all you want, but if you don't get the dub, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, do what you feel like you could to help the team get to where they need to be, then to me it doesn't really matter that much, you know.
And what's going to be different maybe this time, you know, this week of practice compared to maybe most weeks where, like, again, back-to-back weeks of kind of a disappointing outing of the offense? You know, what's going to be different this week, you think?
This week we're working on our consistency. We're going to work on our tempo, moving the ball fast, playing fast, doing things that we know we do best. And so moving forward towards the game, just putting us in a better position to where we could start fast and finish strong.
Do you think there's a sense of urgency? Because if you guys want to go to a bowl game, you know, we're really going to have to step on the gas here?
It better be. I'll say that, it better be. But for the most part, I feel it since yesterday's meeting, today's meeting, people locked in, you know. Not a whole lot of ha-kicking, but you still trying to have fun with it, you know. We still know that we have something on the line here.
We have news, obviously, that Hines Ward is the new wide receivers coach. I mean, I know you probably worked with him, you know, because he's been on the team. But, you know, what do you think he sort of brings to the wide receivers and maybe to a guy like you? Again, this guy may possibly a future Hall of Famer.
Like you said, he's already been part of our program. So, you know, we have little details that, you know, he installed already. And so, to me, it's not going to be nothing new, you know. But for the most part, he's just going to give us that more – what I want to say, that more of that receiver mindset, you know, of how you could run things and how you could play with inside the offense.
Is that sort of something maybe he's instilled before? Because I know maybe it's been a couple of days since he's been in his new role. You know, what has he maybe shown you that could maybe improve in your game?
Well, something that he always tells me is to make sure I know my opponent inside and out. You know, go more into depth, like his family, you know my opponent type
right.
deal, you know. And so when I go into the game, I know the ins and outs, and so I could take advantage in my best way, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So you played some very, you know, run-heavy teams earlier in the season. This is sort of the opposite. It's I don't want to demean it and say it's backyard football, but it's kind of throw the ball all over the yard.
Yeah, they do they got a great system, and the quarterback got to have the players to be able to run it. So when you look at Western Kentucky, it's an offense built on a lot of the air raid concepts, a lot of quick throws, a lot of quick screens, screen and goes. It's a quarterback friendly system, and certainly you got to have a guy like this to really make it work, and then get the ball to playmakers, and that's what they do a great job of, getting the ball in the hands of guys that can make plays, and their timing, their execution, all of it is for being in 1 year. Obviously the quarterbacks come out of the system, a couple of the receivers have been in it, but they do an excellent job.
When it comes to the quarterback sort of opposition that you guys faced this year, it seems like Bailey's had just a completely different animal. I mean, Taggart mentioned this is a guy that can play on Sunday, so I mean, how do you look at it from a defensive standpoint of stopping him?
Well, I don't think you stop them. You got to get stops. I think you got to limit the explosive plays. I think if there's one thing we can do better defensively, that's one, giving up explosive plays. And, they got guys that can make explosive plays on short throws. So I think the tackling, on playing the screens, the sucker screens, I think any of the quick throws, the bubbles, you gotta be able to tackle well in space. You gotta limit yards after catches, and that's what these guys do a good job, yards after catches and getting the ball out quick. Breaking a tackle and making a big play. So they're very, very good at that. And the quarterback's he's not gonna hold the ball. He knows he reads defenses extremely well. Very talented player and very accurate with the football. So, they present a lot of challenges across the defense, and playing past defenses, everybody, you need 11 guys. You need to try to get pressure on the quarterback. You need to stay in front of him, and we need to force some errant throws and make some plays in the secondary to have success against a team like this.
They don't, like you said, they get the ball out quick, so they don't give you an opportunity to get many sacks. Is there other things you can do in terms of maybe rerouting receivers or trying to bump them off their routes to disrupt their timing?
Well, I think you better match. Your matches have to be good. Anytime you match routes, I always think that's important in getting bodies on them and taking away field space for them. But they're excellent. Teams like this, finding grass, knowing how to sit, read coverages. I think that's what, in playing teams like this before, that's what you've always how they like to run these offenses. And so he's gonna, there's gonna be challenges, all over the field. So I think the big thing again is going to be tackling, making them get the ball out quick, and limiting big plays. I think that's, that'll be the key. And then you can't, if you let them run the ball, they'll run the ball. If you play soft box or don't give him numbers in there, he'll run it. They're patient enough. So you got to try to make the quarterback work. You got to try to disguise what you're doing, try to fall out into certain things. So, we're going to have to be in point. And then, when you do these things, you got to make sure you're in the right spots, because if you're not in the right spot, he's going to hit those windows. And you have to understand how this offense operates and how the quarterback thinks and how he works off leverages. Those are all important. So you got to understand, as a defense, what they're trying to accomplish. And that's hard for, an entire game.
Evan Anderson, still a young starter. He's been a starter for 2 years, but still a young guy. What would you say about his play this year and what he gives you in the middle of the defense?
I think, again, I think we've made some progress with some of our younger players. certainly Evan has been he's been, an anchor for us in the middle. And, we play a lot of odd front, so you need a guy in there that can, take up that center and hopefully, those A gaps in there. And Evan's done a, extremely good job of that all year. And I think he's progressed. I think he's just scratching the surface of what he can be as a player. And as he gets stronger in a lot of ways, I think he'll become even a more dominant player. So he has to continue to work. But he's definitely on the right track.
I do want to ask you about the Old Dominion game. I mean, it seems like in that first half you guys were pretty sound, and in that second half you mentioned the big plays. How do you sort of maybe what do you think were the positives of that game and the negatives that you're trying to clean up this week?
Well, I always think the explosive, they had, I think, 3 or 4 in the second half. One was late. We were in a man coverage. The other, we were in a zone. Was disappointed in a couple of them. I thought we should have played better. But that's they just out executed us on a couple of them, and that's always disappointing to give up explosive plays. Wasn't anything that we hadn't seen. We were pretty prepared for that game. In the big plays, I think there's a couple penalties that really hurt us in that game, and I think those 2 or 3 really big throws hurt us in the second half and kind of broke our back in that game. It's a lot like it happened in Marshall. We're playing. They hit a little slip screen for 65, and our guys just have to stay locked in and you just got to keep playing and to give ourselves our offense more opportunities, and anytime they get more points, that's obviously not what we want. But overall, our kids continue to play hard. I think we continue to show our red zone defense, our third down stop shoot. We were 4 for 14 or 15 the other night again, so we're in the top.
Jordan, I'm hoping you're aware, but your fumble return was the second longest.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
History. So, can you just walk us through picking it up and taking off?
Yeah. So I had to roll to the post that play, and I was just running down, and I didn't even see the ball come out. I was just trying to run and help on the tackle, and I just saw it laying there. That Kiki did a great job punching it out. And then when I picked it up, I was just trying to run as fast as I can. And then maybe if I made one guy miss or one more block, I would have taken it all the way back. But it was a really cool moment.
Obviously you had a pretty solid game yourself, 15 total tackles. But is that kind of, in your mind, just all for naught because of the loss?
I mean, it's still just, that's kind of hard to answer. I was just doing my job and just trying to help the team win. And I mean, it's disappointing we lost, but yeah, I guess so.
So you go this week against a team that loves to throw it all over the yard. A little bit different than some of the teams you faced this year. What makes them so effective offensively?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge for us in the secondary this week. They do a great job of getting guys open. They have a dynamic vertical passing game, and so we just have to be on point with our matches.
We were talking, I think, Coach Stoops just a little earlier, and he was talking about how one of the flaws against Old Dominion was the limit of the big plays. I mean, how important is it to limit those, especially against an offense like Western Kentucky? Yeah,
you have to limit big plays. If when we've shown we can limit the big plays, it's been hard for teams to score on us, especially in the red zone. So if we can limit the big plays, that'll help our defense a lot.
Is there sort of you're 5-5. You obviously need at least 6 to get to a bowl game, and for the seniors like yourself, I'm sure you want to extend your season.
Yeah.
So is there a sense of urgency that's kind of floating around now?
Yeah, definitely. We know we have to win. The whole team wants a bowl game. They want to send the seniors out the right way, and that's something we're all working towards. So that's a goal of ours.
And what do you think was sort of maybe some of the positives that you saw from the Old Dominion game that you're trying to carry into this game?
Despite the big plays, I felt our defense was pretty dominant overall. Third down was good, and the red zone was very good. We held them to multiple field goals. So if we can carry that over and then limit the explosive plays, then we'll be good.
What is it about? Is there something that changes when the team's in the red zone? I know schematically they have less field to work with.
Yeah.
But is there something about your defense that when they get in the red zone, something changes?
Yeah, I feel like it's just our mindset. We have the mindset that they're not going to score, and it starts in the trenches. Evan, Jalen, the backers do a great job of stuffing the run. So yeah, it's just our mindset. And then we get down there, they're not going to score.
Like you said, you're talking about being a senior, you want to extend your season. I mean, does it seem like even the underclassmen, whether it be the freshmen or sophomores, they want to do that as well? Like they're thinking about that.
Yeah, a bunch of the young guys talk about they want to send the seniors out the right way, and it's just another game to get better, to put more stuff on film. So even the coaches have made an emphasis on it that they want to send the seniors out the right way.
I know their one wide receiver, number 8, has over 1,000 yards, but in watching them, it seems like that their quarterback, it's not just focused on one guy. He does a good job spreading the ball around.
Yeah, he's definitely, their quarterback's an NFL guy. He throws the ball all over the field. It's not really just looking for 8. He's looking for the open receiver, and he does a great job of finding them.
Well, why do you feel that offense has been just so successful this season?
They do a great job of, their quarterback starts with their quarterback. He does a great job of understanding the coverages. And the receivers do a great job of getting open, and you can tell with their coaches that they're scheming the defenses up to get the best looks they can.
You mentioned Evan. I think only the last 2 years of your career we've used a nose tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about what makes him so special and how that trickles down to the rest of the defense?
Yeah, so the first thing is just his overall size. He takes up multiple gaps, and when you have a D lineman that can take up multiple gaps, it frees up your linebackers and frees up your safeties to make more tackles. Some of the stuff Evan does might not show up on the stat sheet, but he makes our job so much easier, just him being a dominant force in the middle. So he's a great player.
And Moss has been out for quite some time now, and it seems like Munch has been filling quite nicely. I mean, what have you seen from him in the secondary?
Yeah, he stepped up nice. Smoke played a lot last year. So, this was nothing new to him. He was just waiting for his moment, and he's capitalized and played pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Jordan.
Sir.